So our next panel discussion is going to be about cybersecurity sector. Women make up 20% of this industry, although they are better educated than men. Besides the gender gap, this industry also faces a severe talent gap, with 53% of organizations reporting a problematic shortage of cybersecurity skills. Having more women would potentially help closing this gap. Whether it is a solution and whether there are some other opportunities for this sector, we are going to hear from my panelists. Sanja Kekić, Vice President of the Women for Cyber Serbian chapter. Hello, Sanja. Gligorijević, co-founder of TeleGroup. Maša Andić, Security Digital Trust Leader for Central and Eastern Europe at IBM. And Tijana Polak, IT Talent Acquisition Manager at Manpower Group Serbia. I would like to ask Sanja, as one of the experts in this topic, if she can tell us a bit more about job opportunities in cybersecurity. This is a field that ordinary people are just not really familiar with, so let us just hear more about it.
Well, cybersecurity jobs are exceeding, and the fast-paced field that is perfect for anyone who loves a challenge and the thrill of problem solving. According to data collected by Bureau of Global Statistics, the demand of cybersecurity jobs like information security analysts will grow by as much as 31% over the next 10 years. And when you think about it, the average growth in cybersecurity job markets makes sense as technology become more and more intertwined with employees' day-to-day lives. The need for experienced cybersecurity professionals is increased. And while the future cybersecurity jobs projection forecasts more openings, the truth is that even today, there are not enough well-qualified experts to go around. When we speak about executive roles, executive manager roles for cybersecurity professionals, they include for example, Chief Privacy Officer or Chief Information Security Officer. That according to ISC2 organization, they say that there are approximately 2.93 million cybersecurity positions open around the globe. In the same document, they said that top area of need for people with cybersecurity expertise include cybersecurity awareness, cybersecurity risk assessment, security administration, network administration and monitoring, incident investigation and response, security cloud computing security, security engineer, and so on.
But I wanted to ask you on education that these girls and women need in order to enter this prosperous sector.
The question is, I think, completely relevant to whole IT industry and not just the cybersecurity part of it. But on the other hand, we are very much aware that all the elementary and secondary school education is still very much focused on general education and not going into particular segments. So as Sanja was explaining, there are certain job positions that we don't even know about. We don't know how to title them. And the reason for this is that we are not really talking about it. We are not discussing it on the right and possible level. There is a huge amount of activity that has been done by digital initiatives of Serbia, which has brought IT and programming into elementary school. And if you go to secondary school levels, a part of secondary school of mathematics, I think it will be very difficult to label another school which is really educating in this sphere the youngsters that we are not talking now about millennials, but also Z generation and those who are going to come. I have been working and I have been supporting a lot mentors trainings for the girls that are already either at university or working to expand their knowledge base and get knowledge in cybersecurity. But this is, I guess, too late. We as a country need to focus on bringing this awareness to much younger generations and have the teachers available and ready and motivated to teach all children, and then specifically the girls, especially in those schools where there are more girls than boys, that cybersecurity is a topic in which they will find their future job and their future job career much more rewarding than just plain IT. I think that also the making of income and money as a programmer, and especially as a freelancer programming that you could do for foreign companies working and living in Belgrade, has made too much emphasis on just programming and not other positions. It is still a problem that IT managers are deciding both on IT and cyber. They are always more eager to decide in favor of IT, even the money and the jobs acquisition and the salaries, because this is what is closer to their heart and this is where they are stronger. But on the other hand, I think that being in a company that is an IT solution provider for the last 10, 12 years, and then system integrator for around 10, 15 years before, I can really see that my HR is struggling to get real good candidates for positions, which we have constantly opened, as we have around 30, 35 experts and engineers in cybersecurity only. And it is very much stressed that we would need at least a double number of these kind of employees. But getting them even on a scholarship basis or in high schools, it is extremely difficult.
And, I would just now ask Tijana Polak, who is IT Talent Acquisition Manager, to tell us a bit more from her perspective, what are the challenges in both recruiting and retaining women in this sector?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so both of my co-workers actually mentioned some really good points. So I actually have to just sum this up. I mean, we at Manpower actually get to see the entire market, and the situation in cybersecurity changed a lot in the past few years. Previously, we did not have as much as open job opportunities in this area, as I believe not many companies recognized the importance of this field and these experts within the companies. First, we had the banking industry, who is actually one of the first industries to jump in and to actually start working on expanding their teams in cybersecurity. At the time when actually the need just came up, the market was quite uncertain about these positions, and not many people actually were involved in recruitment processes. Today, we have a bit of different situation. I have to say this is a really hot topic, and many companies did recognize the situation, and they are asking and trying to find a lot of solid and good experts. But the truth is, the talent pool is really small. And if we're talking about females in this area, the situation is even worse. Than you mentioned that number is about 20%. I think that that's the number on a global level. On a domestic market, the situation is even worse. And if we are talking about retaining people, the main thing here is to actually create a company culture that is both supportive and inclusive, and that has a clear career path that is equal for all, so that a woman who actually decided to go into this area and become an expert in it can see her path in it and see that there is a room for her, that she can actually become a leader one day, and that she can be in another way supported by her company. So I think that actually that company culture is essential in this matter.
Yes, thank you, Tiana. Yeah, for the retainment, I guess it's the same everywhere in all sectors.
Of course.
And now I would like to ask Masha. Would you, Masha, advise girls to enter this sector? And if you can tell us something on how you entered it.
Well, I would definitely support the girls, and I would actually encourage them to join IT sector in general, not only cybersecurity. And as already some of the colleagues mentioned, there is not really a big difference between IT in general and cybersecurity, because cybersecurity as a field, I really love it, and I think it's a great opportunity for everyone, because it gives you the opportunity not only to deal with technologies like cybersecurity, but you also have an opportunity to implement other very, let's say, sexy technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing very soon in the future, and to put those together in the form of protection in terms of the cybersecurity. I would definitely say, girls, yes, join and be brave, be yourself. Because quite often when I speak with girls and boys in the sector, I get very interesting information. For example, the other day I was speaking with one of the colleagues who said, I'm actually really afraid when I get a girl coming to do a penetration test. And I was like, really, why is that? He said, well, you are definitely different. The way you think, the way you perceive, the way you actually can surprise is very challenging, and it really scares us, and it gives additional added value to the team. So yes, girls, be brave, be fearless, join and be yourself. Quite often we hear, okay, I do not want to go into IT industry because I do not like competing with guys. And then I ask, okay, why competing? Why not collaborating instead? And when we have this collaboration of differences, of different point of views, of different mindsets, we can actually come to the great creativity. And if we are creative, I think that there is no single problem that cannot be solved.
Yes, that is what we are telling all the time, that inclusive and diversified teams work the best. There is just a synergy, a unique synergy that is created in that way. Sanja, cybersecurity exists since the creation of the first computer virus in 1971. And when you look back, how do you see that this field has changed so far, and how it will look like in future? Are there any new opportunities for women leaders in this field in future?
I want to go back only 2 years ago, before COVID pandemic, and my question for all of you is: do you think before 2 years that this kind of summit could be held online? If we come back to today technology is all around us. We now carrying with us our technology, actually. We're rapidly moving our lives to online or cyber space, cyber world. And that is actually, when we speak about cybersecurity, that is paradise for criminals, because they like to get information about us. And now these pieces of information are much more readily available online than earlier in hard copy, because if we look at our governments, today we have e-government. But you asked me about women. What I want to say is that women cannot be left behind. And the lack of women in cybersecurity leave us in online world at great risk. women's representation is important because women tend to offer viewpoint and perspective that are different. And Masha mentioned it, that it is different from men's. And it is critical in addressing cyber risk. So increasing women's participation in cybersecurity is business issue, as well as we like to say it is gender issue, but it is more a business issue.
Yeah, as you said, cybersecurity is the rising field now. It's a big thing everywhere, and I just want to point out that due to rising automation and digitalization, cybercrime costs are increasing, and they actually increased more than threefold in the last 7 years. And nowadays, today, cybercrime costs the world more than $1 trillion, and that is around 1% of the global GDP. I would like to ask Diana, maybe, where do you see the future of cybersecurity, and is there any way to reduce these losses?
Well, actually, with more and more e-governments and e-citizens and general e-approach to every aspect of business and private life, I think that the costs are just going to rise and rise and rise. And it's not going just to be costs. It's going to be also the manipulation of information, manipulation of data, changes of data through cyber attacks, and especially in some of the sectors that are very, very vital for life and living. And this, I don't mean financial institutions, banks, and insurance companies. Now we more and more see that e-health is a topic. Just imagine what could a hacker do if he would switch and change the diseases of people in the hospitals and doctor recommendations, what needs to be done. So I think that we are not even aware where we are heading. And again, unfortunately, I am very optimistic in a sense that we as a small country still with relatively unstable economy that is growing, but still very, let's say, unattractive for real hackers global, do not experience that kind of attacks that is present on different markets, especially on in very developed countries. Plead to you, all ladies, put all your efforts in not just discussing during some, let's say, special time of summits like this one is today, but on daily basis to talk about it, to try and make a much larger society aware of the situation that we are going all to face in future.
Thank you very much, Diana, for pointing out all these costs, not only the financial ones, and the urgency of a good PR campaign. And really, as you said, also the female potential that just cannot be missed at the moment. It's a luxury to miss such big pool of talent potential.
First of all, there are a lot of girls in, let's say, world at the moment who are not even considering their professional life in cybersecurity. On the other hand, I think that female population is larger and larger, and therefore, as you said, we could not afford not to include them. If we do it now, it is going to have, let's say, a drawback in future. And this is one of the reasons why we have to really include all the youngsters, but especially girls and also young ladies, because as we were discussing formally, it is not really very typical to go into cybersecurity if you're just studying the math or science faculties. It could be very vital and very important for the girls who are studying psychology or sociology, even law, because cyber law is going to be a crucial topic in future as well. Today, if you don't learn every single day of your life until you end your business and life career, you have wasted your lifetime.
I would like to ask Tiana how companies can support diversity and inclusion in their teams.
Yeah, okay, we talked previously about this topic, and I do believe it is the key for retaining people in all industries, not only in IT, not only cybersecurity, but in all industries. And the issue is very complex. It cannot be done instantly on all levels. We mentioned that we have to go back to the educational system to make some changes. But at this moment, every company can start from the self and let's say have some sort of a micro projects. We can start by creating a female-friendly environment if the industry is already male-oriented, so that they feel supported in their other roles. Usual problem that we see in our clients is that females have actually problems with coordinating, let's say, motherhood with their career goals. So it would be really essential that companies create, first of all, hierarchy and all the procedures and policies that actually can be in line with their needs. Not to mention flexibility as well, but I believe that we are in a good place at the moment regarding this topic. Another option can be that a company can start some sort of a projects for retraining of delicate categories, so that even employees from the company can have an opportunity to switch and shift their careers at a time if they feel more comfortable or they wish to grow in that field. That can, in some, let's say, long run, even partially fill this gap that we have at the market. And it could be also a vital employer branding strategy for a company. For example, we at a company had a similar project. It's not based on cybersecurity field, of course, but we have this project for business inclusion where we provide support to those categories that are, let's say, less desirable on the market. People with disabilities or females over 50 years old. And throughout that program, we are conducting series of training and sessions so we can prepare them for job searching, writing CVs, going through the interviews and stuff like that. And it has a really good success rate that over 35% of them actually got the job in following 3 months after the program.
This discussion even got me interested in cybersecurity, so when you say from scratch, maybe I can also think about it.
Yeah, it's really
I just want to say that this was really an inspiring discussion, and it's really nice to have all of you ladies here. And I would just like to ask the last question to Masha. Masha, I saw these days when I was researching about the topic, I saw on one of your posts that cybersecurity has become one of the major enablers of digital transformation. And I wanted to ask you, how do you think that the future of cybersecurity field would look like, and what is your view on how this gender equality can contribute to more successful digital transformation in future?
Good question. Well, yes, we heard also during this panel that digital transformation and the cybersecurity presence in the world, it has tripled in the last 12 months. We see it in terms of the number of vacancies, but let me come back to the fact of the digital transformation. We do not have to go far, we just have to take ourselves as individual and see how it changed in comparison to 2 years ago. As Sanja mentioned, 2 years ago, an event like this would be something completely unheard of, right? We would not even think about the possibility of being present on a digital conference, right? So digital transformation is definitely here. So how does it influence the cybersecurity, and why cybersecurity is that important? Well, if everything is becoming digital, we are moving to online world. The number of data present is enormously huge. It's tripled in the last 2 years. If we make comparison with the numbers of attacks, with number of security breaches that happened, it also tripled in the last 2 years, which means that somehow this digital transformation and the cybersecurity go hand in hand together. Female point of view should not be missed here. It's not something, I mean, we are in the world like 50-50, right? So why in the digital presence this ratio should be that much worse for women, right? 20% is not enough. And women have to be present in defining and doing something for the future, because definitely digital transformation is the future path, right? Characteristics of our female feminine personality that is definitely bringing the value into any business area that we are talking about. Concretely in the area of cybersecurity, our multitasking, our precision for details can very much be appreciated, and with this, with our difference, we can actually make this world a nicer and better place to live. Also, when we talk about digital transformation, we have to take into consideration empathy. Because quite often when we see what banks are doing these days, for example, it's almost unheard of that anybody's going into the bank, right? Whatever you have to do, whatever you want to do, you are doing it online, you are doing it via mobile phone. So from that point of view, we have to understand the end user. It's not only understanding the certain organization how to protect its data, how to protect its infrastructure, its critical infrastructure, but it's really becoming more and more important to really understand every single individual on earth and how this individual is perceiving this whole digital transformation. So looking from the pyramid of the cybersecurity, I think that we as women can really be a little bit even more empathetic and understand better what the end user really needs, especially these days when we talk about trust in every single term, right? Digital trust. How do we trust our client if we are a bank, right? We want to attract a good user into our circle of trust, and we want to keep the bad guys outside of it, okay? But how does this end user feel? Do they also scare? Do they also get nervous when they want to buy something and suddenly they are stuck with a different security procedures, right? So it's always like a thin line between putting the very solid and strong security procedure in place to protect our business, to protect us as individuals, but on the other side, giving this feeling of trust, giving this feeling of freedom if I enter the cyberspace, whether it's my bank or secure or insurance company or e-commerce. If I'm just doing shopping online, I want to feel secure. I want to feel that somebody who is doing business with me on the other side is putting trust in me.
Yes, as you nicely said, 50% of these end users are us, women, and I think I can conclude that we are all clear with that there should be also 50% of women in this still parallel digital world. Thank you very much.